And there we go. Bike's been sitting for a couple days. Let's see how I did with getting it running. Let's see if it starts up easily after a few days of just sitting. I'd say I did pretty good. Well, spoke too soon. That's a one-kick wonder right there. Purpose of starting it up today is because I need to do some electrical work. Whenever I use the electric start, this wire right here starts smoking. It gets red hot actually. There's been some fuckery going on, pardon my language, but we're gonna have to fix this. I'm going to test to see if this voltage regulator, which is this thing right here, is working. Start the bike up and see what that number changes to. Yeah, electric start just is not usable at the moment, so we gotta kick start it. It doesn't go any higher than around 14.1, so that is good. It looks like the voltage regulator is doing its job. But we still have to figure out the starter motor issue, so let me show you guys what happens. Turn the kill switch to on, hit the starter motor. It turns over super slow, but watch this. Red hot, holy crap, that is crazy. I don't know why that's happening. Some people thought the smoking was coming from the rectifier here, but it's not. And what's crazy about this setup is that the voltage regulator and rectifier are separate. So it's pretty antiquated, and it seems like it could be replaced by just one single unit, but this stuff's working. That's not the problem. I think whatever this jankiness is kind of causing this issue. So we're gonna have to figure this out. Me. There we go. Bullet connector. The old starter solenoid. It's genuine, made in Japan, Suzuki. That's the original one. Looks exactly the same. Stretched out and then install this wire and get a nice tight fit. Now, let's test it. Gotta hit that starter, Dad.
Is that better?
Sounds just like before. Yeah, it's doing the same thing as before, so I'm thinking now that this wiring job someone did is causing the problems here. It is the next day, and my dad and I did not figure that problem out last night. Sometimes it just takes sleeping and probably dreaming about this problem in my head all night to wake up and say, light bulb moment, I figured it out. There was this wire coming off the engine that I thought was just meant to be grounded to the frame, so I tried that and it still didn't fix the starter motor issue. It was still smoking out the wires, but I then thought, maybe that wire is supposed to be grounded directly to the battery. So I tried that, and sure enough, now the starter motor engages and spins perfectly and doesn't smoke any other ground wires. You know, it literally took like taking this whole bike apart, basically, looking at all the wiring to find out that it was the problem was just right in front of me anyways. But sometimes that's just how it goes. As for this black and white stripe wire going to the voltage regulator that got smoked, I'm soldering on a new wire and then it'll be good as new. And that is it. All the electrical issues have been fixed. Woo! While I have the gas tank off looking over the electrical, I can go ahead and reinstall these bolts that have been missing since I got the bike. That was easy. That was easy. Much more solid now. That was easy. You gotta be kidding me. Next on the list of problem, the bike has an oil leak. Pretty bad one after just one day of sitting. All that oil leaked out. If I had to guess, it looks like the oil leak is coming out of the shift shaft seal, which is inside this case here. We don't really know until we pull this case off. So let's get it off and have a look in there. It is not looking good in there. What the heck is this? That looks like a freaking Cheeto from hell. Ew. Ugh. It is very crummy in there. Chain tension is pretty good. Tiny bit loose, but not enough to mess with it. Upon further inspection, it looks like it's actually not the shift shaft seal. That one looks dry for the most part, but what actually looks worse is this clutch rod seal, this really big one here. You can just wiggle that shaft around and it's really not holding down too tight, and if I pull it out you can see oil start dripping out. Maybe if I give this a good cleaning it'll seal up. I'm gonna give that a try. I've got the rod all nice and cleaned up. I'm gonna hit the seal with some carburetor cleaner because sometimes that makes these old seals swell up a little bit, so that where it might actually seal up. That's what's going on. So let's go ahead and replace the case. Replace the case, man. Replace the case. Replace that case. It's a week later. I was on vacation in Turks and Caicos with my family. I had an amazing time. But the bike did not have such a good time waiting the week. It leaked out most of its oil into a little tray that I had under it, and we need to fix this oil leak. And I did some research online and I found out the starter motor is actually on the bottom of the engine, and it's above that little cover that I tightened up in the last video, but that cover should not seal oil. The problem is that the starter motor has an O-ring on it. That is supposed to keep the oil into the crankcase and not getting outside around the starter motor area. And I'm thinking that O-ring is shot, so we're going to pull off that cover and have a look at it. It's going to be a pain in the arse because the exhaust is in the way, but there it is. And it is pretty dry. That must not be where the oil is coming from. The mystery continues. I freaking found the leak, guys. Oh my gosh. Finally. It is this little plug right here. Well, this little plug right here. This is where all the oil was leaking out. When I decided to pop off these side covers again because I crawled under the bike and I could kind of see the oil was definitely coming from somewhere under these cases. This is the third time I pulled these off and I finally saw it. I moved the wires out of the way and then I could see that this plug, which is on the end of the Kickstarter shaft and it's meant to hold the oil inside the crankcase, it was like cocked to the side a little bit. The bottom was kind of out and oil is pooling. I can see it leaking out right now. It's a slow leak, but without that plug in seated correctly, oil was just seeping out of there. I pounded that plug in all the way as far as I could. The bike's been sitting for about 10 minutes now and I don't see any more oil seeping out of that plug area. While I'm in here, I decided to have a look at this gear selector indicator, which was giving me problems. It only worked like half the time. How it works is, this is the whole unit. This piece goes into that slot on the gear drum back there, and as it spins, it completes a connection in 6 different spots, neutral and then the 5 gears. And I took it apart, cleaned it. It seemed like oil was getting inside there and messing with the connection. Also the ground connection was bad. I didn't think that was the main problem because everything was covered in oil, so it was messing with the electrical connection. I think I got it all fixed up. So let's put it back on and give it a test. It's the next day and we have no more oil leak. That's just from residue. There's no big puddle under the bike. So I've fixed the oil leak finally, and I fixed the shift indicator. Check it out. Turn on the key. First gear, neutral works. The only other thing to fix is that the front brake light switch does not work. So I'm gonna look into that next. We gotta test the switch. The way to test the switch, make sure those aren't touching. Get a multimeter in continuity mode. I'm gonna jam these into the connector and then pull the brake lever. And no, it's not working. It should start beeping once I pull this in. Pull off that bottom plate. Oh, well, that'll cause it right there. There's just a ton of corrosion all around the brass contacts. Oh my gosh. You guys see all these chunks happening? Very chunky. So, a little bit of electronics cleaner. Little sandpaper just to clean off the contact. Wipe that off. All that corrosion's gone. And let's just reassemble it. We just need to adjust it. And beautiful. Woo! We did it, guys. Let's fill her up. After fixing the starter motor problem, and I've had the battery on a charger, it's now fully charged. So now we're going to try the ultimate test, which is, can we cold start this with the electric start only? Let's see, will it start with only the electric start? Here we go. The answer is yes, and it started up really well. Alright guys, it's time to go on a ride. Woo! Holy sh**. We're a spinning tire right there. Woo! I wasn't even trying and it just spins the back tire out. I am not gonna lay this bike down. I have like no gear on. I'm just going on a little cruise. I don't know why I'm going so crazy. I cannot believe it's this fast. Even with mixed gas in the tank and in the oil injection system, it should be bogging down way more than it is, but hey, I'm not complaining. It definitely does bog down in the upper end though. You guys might have just heard that. But holy crap, is it running good. Sorry, when I see someone doing this, it gets the best of me every time. Actually using the turn signals, they work good. And they're super bright. do just one more rolling burnout because this is the only bike I've ever ridden that can do that. Woo! Man, that's fun. One more. To buy one of these 3-cylinder 2-strokes. The torque is just like nothing I've ever felt, guys. It's gonna be hard to give this bike back, I tell you what. This has been a ton of fun. That's it for this video. We got the electric start working, fixed a few other little things. Hopefully the oil leak's fixed, but you'll have to wait for the next video to find out for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button down below. Comment what you want to see me do on this bike in the little short time that I'm going to have it before I have to give it back. And I'll see you next time. Peace.